Hi everyone, I'm Modar. I'm here with Ilona and Gordon, aka House Andrews. We're going to have a 1.5 hour Q&A today. The last half an hour will be spoilers. We will announce it, and if you want to leave and don't want to hear spoilers, that's absolutely fine. So hi Lana, hi Gordon, how are you? How has the release week treated you so far and the merch store opening?
Stressful.
Not overwhelming at all.
No, it's fine.
We're a little bit stressed out, but it was such a great launch. Raman turned out to be very popular. Everybody seems to like it. So we're just happy we could, entertain people for a little bit.
Yeah,
Right,
we
so
probably got 1-star review on Roman. We were both happy. Like, see, we don't pay people for reviews.
Yes.
This person, and the only surprising thing is they were able to leave a 1-star review and say, like, well, I'm not buying this 1 star. And I always thought you had to buy it to review it. I would get it if you bought it and you didn't like it. I was like, yeah, absolutely, but you didn't buy it. Like, you didn't read it.
So
And you gave it
Gordon
1
was
star.
today's years old when he realized you can leave reviews on Amazon without buying an item first.
Well, you
okay,
can't
but
review though. It seems sketchy.
as first star reviews go, to get a 1 star because the book isn't long enough is probably the best 1 star you can get because
Yeah.
it's never long enough for the BDH.
That's true.
Yeah.
So before we implode, I have to ask the number one question. It's called Roman Chronicles 1. Does that mean there will be more Roman Chronicles?
Yes, absolutely. We know for a fact that there'll be one more.
Okay.
And we're going to have something Frog Prince. Something. So
Or do we get to do the cachet and the needle and
yeah,
the
and the
egg?
needle and the egg and then all this stuff.
All the really neat tropes of Slavic fairy tales.
Yep.
So yeah, so the Russian Frog Tsarevna Frog Prince rather than the Western like Kiss the Frog Prince.
Yes, a different Frog Prince, yeah. Although there's no frog kissing, although jokes will be made about that. So
And is it likely to also this Froggy sequel? Is it likely to also be a novella?
Oh, yeah,
probably. Yeah, at least
Because we like big books. Otherwise,
it's definitely not a short story. It will be a little bit longer. We just, we're trying to juggle our schedule a little bit. So probably not this year, but and it also allows, it's good to have a little bit of a break between releases like that because it allows Raman to find his audience, kind of.
Oh yeah, someone's saying they convinced Vasilisa. Yeah, because
Yeah.
and she's definitely gonna be a part of it. It's gonna be like a 2-person quest
Kind
adventure
of,
type
yeah.
of
It
thing.
basically starts with her saying, hey, you owe me.
And he does.
And he does, and so they go off on an adventure together, kind of, and fun stuff happens.
Yeah.
and that's kind of going into the next question, which is, will the next one be a bit more romantic? Are we going to see Andorra as his love interest? Will he get a happy ever after?
Yeah.
Come on.
Who would he have been romantic with in the first place?
Place. Yeah, like yeah, she's walking towards him and he forgot how to talk there for a second. Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Well, yes, I mean, and that was always the thing that I felt like Roman deserved a happily ever after with someone who could challenge him. And we had talked before it was going to be the witch.
Yeah, but
Alina.
it didn't seem like grandiose enough, somehow. Just it's not that the witches are not powerful or anything, but there's so many of them, and
it's also his mom.
his
is
mom
the
is
head
the witch,
right?
like
Antikia, so it's like he would want something different, but at the same time, and she's a Vasilisa, he's evolved.
Yeah.
So it kind of still works together.
This way she's not in basically if the Kia's hierarchy, she's outside.
Yeah,
of it.
that's true.
So it always works better when you're not, working directly under the mother-in-law because yes, good lord.
Oh yeah,
that doesn't always work.
So when does Sanctuary happen in the Kate Daniels timeline?
It is shortly after the end of the main arc.
Yeah. I
So
think I calculated it's either the Christmas right after Magic Triumphs or the next year.
yeah,
But I
like
think it's the Christmas right after.
I
yeah,
think honestly, I'm leaning towards Christmas of the next year because everything's
yeah.
gonna
Calm
settle
down, you
yeah, a
know.
little bit.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's a little bit different Atlanta because Kate and Karen are not there, you know. It's just, you know, Kate is not even mentioned in the story. And we kind of planned it that way because a lot of people wouldn't have picked it up if it was, you know, a direct tie-in. This way it's a very good entrance, you know, into the like Kate Daniels universe.
Like
Yeah.
post Atlanta Kate kind
Yeah.
of, which obviously we know where they are. Sort of
Doing
later.
their thing, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like it's not, you know, it's not that it will never connect, but it doesn't need to connect right now.
Yeah, we didn't feel like this one needed Kate or Curran or any of the other more established characters.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go a bit into spoilers from previous sessions. Sneaky, sneaky. You said that if anyone knows what happened to Derek and why Derek left Atlanta and like sort of what happened to him in the meantime, that would be Roman. Roman is the one to ask. So
Yeah.
have there been clues about what happened to Derek in this book and we haven't noticed it, or will there be in the next one?
No, that would be a separate story, but it's a story that's better saved for the Blood Heir too.
And
Okay.
It
this is
fits
like,
in there.
but you know, all of that is again somewhat further set in the future than even this story would be, don't you
Yeah,
think?
and it's just it's several the Blood Heir is several years from
Derek,
this.
But
Donna,
when Derek leaves, it's more a couple of years after Magic Triumph, so it would
Yeah.
kind of overlap with.
The thing is, like, at this point, Raman already knows.
Aha!
So here's what happened. Okay, without any serious spoilers, right? Something happened to Derek. Something in his past when he was a child, right? And it had long ramifications
Hmm.
magically, right? And so he was never, you can see clues to it in the Kate Daniels series where like Jim says why hasn't he gone loop? He stank like a loop. What is going on? Derek never quite smells right. He has, if you read Magic Stars, you will see that like Moon has a disproportionate effect on him, right? So there's different clues to the fact that Derek is not a typical shapeshifter. You know, and like
oh, someone's saying they're only seeing half of your face, but I don't.
Yeah, can you move closer? Although Tubby's in the way, so
oh,
yeah.
so because of that, you know, it's very um like Raman knows what happened, right? Raman
Mm.
figured it out because something happened of a mystical nature, and Raman is a mystical dude.
It's his business.
Yeah.
It's
about those
business to
things.
know about those things. And so Derek at this point is struggling with it. He's
Hmm.
you have to see, you have to remember how Derek was brought up, right?
Yeah.
What environment and what, you know, it was very religious environment, very, you know, so he's struggling with some things. And that struggle eventually leads him away from Atlanta towards kind of trying to find what he's capable of and all those things in a place where nobody knows who he was before.
Yeah. So Raman knows, but he's not necessarily going to tell us in his books. We're gonna have to maybe wait for Blood Heir.
Yeah, that's more of a Blood Heir
It's
story, I
a
think.
Blood Heir story, which is not
Okay.
Derek will not pop into Raman's novellas, you know.
Hmm.
But you know, it's not going to be an in-depth discussion.
It's a different Derek to me, almost than the Derek from the Blood Heir.
Yeah,
books.
Blood Heir books Derek is a completely different ballgame. Like he is well into his power at that point. Like he knows what his place is, he knows what he's supposed to do. You know, the Derek contemporary to Sanctuary is still kind of figuring things out.
Yeah,
Yay. Was Raman inspired or based on a real person?
Very, very loosely. Um, So it was many years ago when we were writing Kate Daniels, and it was one of the books where Evdokia was very prominent, and I think it was the first appearance of Raman. And
Magic Slays. Yeah.
we were trying to kind of do some research, and I was flipping through the pagan, Russian pagan sites, right, looking for a particular thing. And there was this really cool looking wolf. He had like dark hair and he had a, like kind of a mohawk, and he was like all decked out in his wolf stuff. And I was like, a cool guy, we should put him in the book. No clue who he was, no clue, like can't find the picture again. I looked before. When we were doing the Sigla Roman, I was like, oh, it would be a
Yeah.
nice piece of like, here's how we thought of him. But yeah, that was one picture, and then he kind of got popped into the book, and that was it.
Um,
What we know.
Yeah, not anyone we know.
uh, someone's asking, is there an audiobook? There's an audiobook, guys.
Yeah.
There's definitely an audiobook. There's a paper copy and an ebook, and the audiobook is very, very awesome.
We
Yeah.
have run three rounds
does
of ads from the
Promos with the guy
audio.
reading.
The Instagram has like
Is it
6
graphic
videos
audio?
with him.
No.
No, but
No.
there's a huge demand for you to do Evdokia if there is a graphic audio. You
Oh,
have to
you
get cast
can.
as Evdokia and do her voice.
I have
I think-
reached my Baba Yaga stage.
Well, then you have to. Yeah, you have to be the Vasilisa then.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, and Chris Brinkley does the audiobook, and he's awesome. And as obsessed as people are with Steve West for Hugh, that's how I am with Chris for Roman, just to let you all know.
No, he did
Yes.
an amazing job.
Just so we're clear.
Actually, Rasana found Chris Brinkley. That was basically, we were sitting there and we were basically sorting through like dozens and dozens of male
Yeah.
narrators and going like, no,
Not
oh
quite.
my God, no, please,
No,
please,
some were
no.
close. Some were close, but nobody was as good as Chris.
Nobody was as good as Chris. And then Rasana found Chris, and she's like, oh, I think he can do the humor. And so yeah, we had basically a test session. He auditioned, and it was great. It was a great audition. And he was so conscientious, because if you talk to
Oh,
Chris,
yeah.
he's so charmingly slightly southern, right? And it's just,
Yeah.
he was like, okay, all the Russian words and Slavic words, and like, it's like
Yeah, he
um,
read all the other books, guys. Like he read Gunmetal Magic, he read Magic Slays, he read Magic Binds. Like he did his homework. He knows Roman backwards and forwards.
it is an
So
amazing audio. We are super, super thrilled. Like he like outstanding, above and beyond.
how does Roman make money? Like, does he have mundane employment? Do the Slavic gods get like tithes for their priests? Is he paid through that? Like people give to Chernobog and it
Yes,
funds Roman?
yes. So yes, people give to Chernobog, just like, when they want a favor, or when a lot of times, so the way the modern thing in Kate Daniels works, right? The modern paganism, we had to fudge things a little bit to make it viable, right?
Yeah.
So the way it works is that there's gifts given to the gods and their priests, basically, and it's like a yearly fee. You know how we're like, money to IRS, don't put us to jail. Money to basically social security, money to there. Okay, well, Russian pagans kind of do this for their
Mm.
god. And a lot of times, like, donations to Chernobog are kind of made to, like, other gods get donation to do something. Chernobog gets donations to please don't do anything.
Yeah.
Here's money. Please don't do anything. We love you. We respect you. We fear you. Please don't come to the house. Don't bless us in any way.
Just
So
stay in love.
Yeah, and that's worshipped against in a way almost, right? And so that's where Raman gets the money. It is allotted. There is a certain, they have certain things in there. And yeah, Raman is not a poor man. Like Raman can absolutely take care of like let's say a wife and possible children in style, and it will be fine. Like his father obviously is not hurting,
No,
it's Raman's.
no. So that kind of leads to the other question, a bit similar, like how do the pagans, the neo-pagans, decide which Slavic god to, obviously the Russian neo-pagans, decide which Slavic god to worship? Is it more sort of circumstantial? Like if I have a problem with Nekis, it's going to be
It is.
Chernobog. If I've got, so the calling like Morena did and Chernobog did, it's just for priests. It's not for like,
It's not for regular people.
yeah.
It's more like the entire pantheon is being worshipped at the same time. But they're like, okay, if you're sick, you're gonna pray to this god. If you have a bad business deal and you want it to turn good, you're gonna pray to somebody else. If there is too hot, too much sun, you pray for the rain. If there is not enough sun, you pray, to the sun god. So, you end up, it's very situational. It's pick and choose.
But obviously, as a priest, you serve the one
Yeah, the one deity
god,
that you
and
dedicated.
you're respectful of the other gods, but you
Yeah.
don't serve them necessarily.
Yes.
Which leads us to the great conundrum. What is the kind regard story about? Who could possibly be the teenage boy that we see in the kind regard
Okay,
story?
so at the end of Sanctuary, a teenage boy becomes a priest of Marina and gets onto a wolf and rides off. Then in the short story, we see a teenage boy on top of Marina's wolf going to basically fuss at a priest who disrespected her. And basically created the strife between Marina and the
Svarog.
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it's just Finn. It's Finn going like, don't mess with my god.
Yes.
That's it. I am going to do something about it. So yeah, that's what it is.
We can see how he's doing, the new priest, the new
Yeah,
teenage priest.
Finn. Of
Yeah,
course.
of course it's Finn.
Did they not know it was Finn?
Yes, some people were like, what the heck is that?
Oh, I just assumed it was known.
Like
Maybe.
it was so, yeah, like I thought we were like put like a neon sign. I'd like
Who else would it be?
I don't
Because
know.
it was a Roman Pov, they thought it might be a flashback of Roman.
Oh
Because
no,
Roman kind of
No,
kind
no.
of interacts with Marina's wolf as well, so they thought it might be him. But it's not. It's not. It's Finn. It's
Finn,
Finn
it's Finn. Yeah,
getting revenge with Marina's whale
what
on
Raman
the.
is referencing in that flashback is basically Marina wanted to see him, and so she sent the wolf. She said, "Fetch," and the wolf fetched, and that's really what happened. This is not, he is not. Raman is not gonna ride the Marina's wolf in
no.
style.
I honestly don't think that he would or
Yeah, I
would be
don't think
allowed
the
to.
wolf would let him. I mean,
But Finn can ride it,
Finn can
yeah.
ride it because Finn is Marina's priest, so it works.
But she does like Roman a bit. I mean, maybe she likes him for him. Maybe she likes him because he's Chernobog's priest. She does seem fond of him a little bit.
Oh
She's
yeah,
very fond of him. She went through
yeah.
all that trouble to try to help him with his basically, inability to let go of his past. She tried her best and he was very resistant, but God's thing long term.
Well,
So
and he saved Finn too. So I
and
mean,
he
it
saved Finn, of
goes
course.
both ways. Like he saved her priest,
Yeah, he's not dedicated to Marina, but it is, his
his
God's
boss's
wife,
wife.
obviously.
Yeah, someone just said Roman has a dragon. He doesn't need a wolf.
Yeah.
I begged, guys. I begged for Aspid to show up in
No, no.
in the
Maybe in
epilogue.
the next one. In the next one would be the lovely time when Aspid shows up. Because stuff happens, Kashchei comes, and we're going with we're not going with like leech looking zombie Kashchei. We're going with like the original version of him,
Bogatier, handsome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
handsome, the first
Yeah.
Bogatyr. He was,
Mhm.
because the thing is like the original myth,
You
if
guys
you
don't have
look
to
at it.
explain Bogatyrs.
So Bogatirs were kind of like equivalent of King Arthur's knights, right? They would go off and they would have adventures, and we would have basically kind of sagas about them, right? They were called Bolinas. And so you know, and it's always very like tied to like repelling the Mongol horde, or like fighting with like whatever kind of enemy happened to be around. You know, fighting dragons, fighting evil witches, that type of thing. So they basically ran around and tried to keep the peace in ancient mythical Russia. And so the first Bogatyr, the most powerful, the most basically beloved sort of, was Kashchei. And it so happens that some untoward stuff happened, and he was captured and chained, kind of like Prometheus, right? Except, you know, Prometheus would regenerate because he was a god. And Kashchei just kind of didn't die. He stayed chained for a really long time. He didn't die. And eventually he became kind of like this immortal undead.
Yeah.
And he still had really strong funky powers, and there's different ways he's portrayed. Sometimes he's almost skeletal, sometimes he's kind of more like leech like or wraith like, so it's just different. Sometimes he's old, sometimes he's young. So but the original of it, he was very handsome, very powerful, you know. He is Nobody came and saved him, basically nobody came to help, and he turned evil. So that's, you know, he's carrying a grudge. So there's all that. And we're gonna work it hopefully well into the next novella. I will shut up now. Next
No,
question.
I needed an explanation. You can, people don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I-
it,
We'll
it's
just
it's fun.
we'll just have to do that dirty thing and wait.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So speaking about bad guys, who are the bad guys in Sanctuary? Because the novella ends and we don't really know where they come from.
You have to wait until the next novella.
But there's a clue in there, isn't there?
Yes,
There's a big clue in
there's a
there.
big clue
Yeah.
in there. Yes, there's a big clue, but you know, we're not gonna.
Mwah, ha, 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 ha.
That's
No,
not gonna be one of the spoiler things, you know.
no, I just threw that grenade to the
I was
VDH.
about to say, because it's an
Oh,
overarching
I'm
thing.
glad you say that, because.
Yeah, you can't tell them. It would drop.
Mm-mm.
Okay, promise.
The clue is for the BDH to find and obsess about. Right. So Vasilisa, let's see about her. So how come Yevdokia and Grigori know who Vasilisa is, but Roman hasn't met her yet? Do they
So,
know her all the way back from the school thing, or do they know her as an adult?
well, the way it works is that when new Vasilisa is born,
Mhm,
right? And she's usually born before the old Vasilisa dies,
mhm,
right? When a new Vasilisa is born, there's a certain amount of magic that's kind of wrapped around her. You know, she's basically, for the lack of a better word, she's glowing in the magic vision, right?
mhm,
And you know, Evdokia has part of the witch oracle, so they foresaw her coming. They foresaw her
mhm,
born. You know, they let her basically grow up enough to where they needed to take charge of her education. Then they found her and they're like, you know, all the problems you're having, this is why. You
mhm,
know, and so the thing is, Raman met her when, obviously, I'm trying to keep the spoilers to a minimum. Raman met her in childhood,
Yes.
but you know, he didn't have a chance to interact with her. He interacted with
mhm.
his successor, who by that
Right.
was older. You know what I mean? And it's just not, they don't necessarily, like, you could probably be a Russian pagan wolf, right? And you can
Mhm.
go decades without ever seeing Vasilisa in the flesh, because
Right.
they're wandering and doing basically God's bidding. So it's a little bit different. I'm
Do
gonna
people worship her? Do people pray to the Vasilisa?
no, she's
No,
No.
not. Oh, she's more like, again, like, if
she's not a
she's a
god.
Lancelot,
Yeah,
Hmm.
like a female Lancelot, you know what I mean? So it's not somebody that you would worship.
So she's the only, she's not like the Volves, like Roman is only sort of responsible for the Atlanta area when it comes to Chernobog's doings. But Vasilisa is responsible for the whole United States, for the whole world. Like, there's only one Vasilisa, right? So,
There's only one Vasilisa per continent, let's put it that way.
okay, all right, all right.
It's realistic to just have just
Yeah,
one.
I mean, Russia,
Mhm.
like in
Russia
the
has
cave
its own
world,
Vasilisa, probably, you
yeah,
know.
I would say
So,
anywhere with there would be enough Slavic pagans. So there's probably Vasilisa in the south, or she might be the Vasilisa for North America.
yeah,
She's probably the Vasilisa for the whole of North America, where even as you said, Roman is kind of rooted in the greater Atlanta
area.
area.
You know, like if you look in terms of Christianity, right? You have your, Greek Orthodox, you have your Russian Orthodox, you have the Catholics, you have the Protestants. Everybody has their version of Jesus. And we all know it's supposed to be the same, basically, Jesus. But in reality, everybody kind of has slightly different rites. Everybody has slightly different terms on which they communicate with their God. And so this is kind of similar. Large congregations of pagans differ from each other because of
Mm.
geographically, being separated, different hierarchy, probably slightly different rites, slightly different means and worship of and places of worship. And so yes, larger congregations will have separate Vasilisas. I hope I
And she kind of functions as like an arbiter, like a referee between the gods or the
yeah,
priest.
to some extent. So it's basically when there's conflicts that are not resolvable by normal means, she'll
Mm.
come in and she'll do something about it. And it's usually because some deity or some, mythologically powerful creature taps her on
Yeah.
the shoulder and says, "Hey, can you do something
I
about it?"
think, in Judeo-Christian terms, honestly, Rasana, it'd be more like an angel. People don't worship angels, but
Yeah.
the
So they
angel.
call on them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you talk a little bit about beautiful versus wise? Like Andorra seems wise, although she's very beautiful as well to Raman. So what is that separation?
For some reason, in Russian fairy tales, there's two versions of them, and we don't know why because these stories are thousands of years old. I mean, this is just ancient Roman, the very, very old, like verbally passed on folklore. We do know that there's two versions of them, and one is the beautiful and one is the wise. And the wise one seems to do things like make spells and like be able to ride a horse and outrace men and horses, or being able to basically shoot an arrow really well, or at some points, like she will get the sword and go basically whoop some butt. The Vasilisa the Beautiful usually gets kidnapped quite a bit. So she gets kidnapped by different creatures and has to be rescued. She seems to be more able to manipulate people by charm and means of like conversation and just, so her powers are slightly different.
But they're not like one more powerful than the other necessarily,
No,
or
just
No,
powerful in different ways.
just different ways. And
Yeah.
there's not like if there's a Vasilisa, there's not like a complementary Vasilisa. So there's
No,
just
just one.
Vasilisa, and she does she choose which one she wants to be, or just becomes?
No, I think
No.
that we are just naturally predisposed to one or the other, probably.
Mm.
It's very rare when somebody is incredibly charming and urbane and, also super, super good at like academic learning that because those are different spheres. Each of them demands an investment of time, and effort. So, people, we specialized. We have basically, very, very gifted public speakers, and then we have very gifted, let's say, researchers. It's rare when a person is both.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that there's not exceptions to this rule, but,
So if she's sort of the arbiter, the referee between the gods and the priests, and she moves around everywhere, will she be allowed to be together with Roman? Will that give him like more of a subjective advantage over everyone else?
Rastana, the woman carries a flaming sword. I mean,
No one tells her what to do.
yeah, basically.
Yeah. Um, did you make up Roro, or does it have, or does the
Oh,
creature have
Roro.
any
Oh
established
my
mythical
God.
origin?
Roro is Momo. Our daughter's boyfriend has a black Frenchie that has long hair.
Long-haired Frenchie. Her name is Mona.
And I swear to
Uh,
God, this dog comes in our house. She stands up on her hind legs and does this. Hey! And you have to pick her up. And I'm gonna go, Momo! And I grab her.
Yeah, like the little
Oh, do we have pictures of Momo?
oh,
You have to.
it's
Hang on. You have to see Mona.
yes, she is the cutest thing. Okay, now I'm gonna
Mona is the cutest Frenchie, except for Tubby, who has
yes.
probably ever Frenchied.
Yes, I don't know how we will be able to. I have a video of her somewhere
Do you have a
here.
video of Mona?
I do have a video of Mona.
I
She's like,
probably
she jumps on the
do.
couch and she's like, "Hey, Tuna, kissy, kissy." Oh, let's
Yeah.
see.
Tuna does not dig that.
I don't know if I will be able to make it.
Oh yes, look at that. Oh, look at that tummy. Oh, yes, drop Roro.
So much fun. Oh my gosh.
She's hilarious. I
like
love Mona.
when she comes over, she's just like, she'll run around and then inevitably she'll go outside, right? And she'll come in very quietly. She's like ninja sneaks in, right? And then I turn around, she's eating a stick. And I'm like, where did you get the stick? Why is the stick now in pieces? You should not have a stick. That's not good for you.
Oh,
Oh,
can you see it? I'll try to
hold
make.
on, hold on.
This is Mona.
It's a very dark picture, but yeah, that's Miss Mona.
Oh yes, yes indeed.
She's crazy. Like she doesn't calm down for like the first hour or 2 hours.
Yes, and it's
Then she comes over. She just
we
A
have
very menacing creature.
right because the our oldest came over to help with the store. We had her yesterday, and at some point Mona realized I was very stressed out. So I looked down and she curled up by my feet and she's like, "Hey, I will lower your blood pressure if you pet me." I was like, "Yes, you absolutely can."
Someone's asked,
Momo.
Yeah, that's what it is.
and in the books, will we get a reveal about whether she's some sort of creature from a different mythology, or
No,
just she'll
it's
just say Roro?
Here's what
she
she
said,
is.
yeah, what you see is what you get.
But all the adorable creatures and Nekis, we're gonna continue seeing them, right? Because we're very invested in that.
Yeah.
Um, is Sanctuary a good intro into the Kate Daniels series?
I would say it's
It can definitely be read on its own.
it can be read on its own, and it's
I'm
decent.
not sure if it's a good intro.
Here's the problem. Geographically, it takes place in a very small radius of, and it's even somewhat outside of Atlanta. To me, if an introduction to the Cape world would be in Atlanta proper.
The questionable client is probably the best
The
introduction.
best one, yeah.
And it's available free on the website. So you know, if you're thinking about questionable client, would be good. It's just, you know, the series, the Kate Daniels series is a little bit uneven in tone because although Questionable Client is a prequel to it, it was written a little bit later. And you can see that we have matured sort of into a certain style. When we started Kate Daniels, it was our first published work, you know, and so Magic Bites especially is kind of really different in tone because we were not sure what the heck we were doing. You know, we gotta start somewhere. We kind of started hitting our stride with Magic Burns, and then with Magic Strikes, we knew what we wanted to do, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because, you know, when you're a writer, you base a lot of what you think writing and should be, right? Like how
Yeah.
the novels are structured on the stuff that you read before, right? And a lot of our reading came from, well, the boomer generation, right? We were not like, I distinctly remember the moment where we kind of took off with the series, right? It was Magic Burns, and I was really struggling with it. Like, and Gordon was like, "I'm just done. I'm just done. That's it." I remember that, and so I, out of desperation, called to our editor, and at that point, our editor edited something like 54 books a year. So every week she had a different book. We caught her, and I could tell that we had like maybe like a third of her brain engaged, and she didn't remember any of the characters. And I just remember telling her the stuff, and her going, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And she's a spectacular editor, right? But you have to get her into that 1 week where she read the book and she's in and she's working on it. And so, I hung up and I looked at him and said, you know what, let's just do whatever the hell we want. Let's not worry about what it's supposed to be or the market, because I don't think there's going to be a third one. So we might as well just entertain ourselves. And so, like, we wrote Magic Burns to make ourselves laugh, basically, at certain points.
Yeah.
And that's kind of became the
And
motto.
that was the magic.
Yeah, that's kind of where it started. So Magic Bites it reads a lot like kind of every other UF that was on the market at that time.
Well, and someone asked, did we cut it? Oh, yeah. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like cut this or that. It was just cut words.
Cut words, make shorter, must sell at certain price points. So
Yeah.
it was like a quarter of the book we had
Yeah,
per
and
high
people
quality.
ask, we've had this question on panels and different things like, did you know the series would be 10 books long?
No,
Hell
no.
no, we didn't. We didn't know it'd be 3 books long, for Christ's sake. We never thought.
Yeah, we never thought it would go that far. It's just, if you're going to start somewhere, start with questionable client, and then I would
Yeah.
suggest skipping maybe book 1, or 2, and trying like Magic Strikes,
Yeah.
and then going back and getting the rest
Going
of
back to,
going back and
Yeah.
reading 1 and 2 for background. Because
and
if you
then yeah,
strikes, you will like the rest of the series.
Well,
and then come on Facebook and say, I read Magic Rises and I can't get over it.
That is
Magic Rises
making
traumatized
fun, but
me.
that's the book that made us the #1 New York Times
That's
bestseller.
right.
That was the book. Because it
Yeah.
was so shocking. All the reviews were like, oh my God, you have to read it. Stuff happens. And everybody was like, oh, we gotta read it. So yeah, so that's what happened there.
They recovered.
It was high stakes, but and people are so mean to poor Curran over it. Like, when you think about it, this guy was basically out of his territory, right? Not to mention that, he saw his parents eaten to death, right? And here he is in a alien territory. There's something that is eating shapeshifters, other people, clearly a cannibalistic monster. And here's Kate, and Kate is human, and so he tried his absolute best to protect her, whichever way he could, bless his heart. And people are like, it's kind of interesting because like we hold these fictional characters to be infallible. We get so much crap for like Jim and like,
Jim, yes.
yes, Doolittle, who is like, didn't want Kate to heal him, and there's like this whole thing. But they're meant to be real people. I mean, they're meant to have flaws. Otherwise, it's not very interesting. They're not archetypes, they're characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have gone off on the tangent.
There you
Reel
go.
me in.
Okay, but speaking about knowing what you were going to do, whether you knew how it was going to go, did you always have this backstory for Roman about his brother and his brother's betrayal?
I don't.
Yeah, kind of. We knew the brother died. We
We
weren't
knew the brother died, but we didn't know
in
the
detail
particular.
like what happened. When we conceived the character, we wanted him to have enough of a backstory, right? We wanted him to have done like cool stuff in the army, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was reluctant. Like he may have been what's his name's first choice, but that wasn't Ramon's first choice.
Yeah, there was Chernobog's
Some
first.
books for choice, yes.
Yeah,
So I think he's always been a reluctant Volv.
yes,
kind of,
he is.
especially
And that, okay,
put upon.
if you
And that's kind of what Sanctuary is about, isn't it? The relationship of Roman with his priesthood, the philosophical
his
take
God,
Yeah,
on.
it wasn't supposed, there's a great thing in I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Clerks. There's a character that's like, I wasn't even supposed to be here today. To an extent, that's Roman.
Yeah,
Like
that's
he wasn't
Ramon, yeah.
supposed to be
Yeah.
If
like he
you,
wasn't supposed to be the Volf of Chernobog.
there's a certain similarity kind of, and
Yeah,
I'm
someone
gonna
says Dante. Yeah, it's Dante.
general, very broad generalizations, please don't hold me to it, but there's a certain similarity in the way the Irish mythology and people within it, people with stories that deal with Celtic mythology, deal with gods, and the way kind of the Slavic pagans deal with gods. There's kind of an overlap there. And one of the you know one of the interesting things about it is that gods are treated with kind of less reverence and more like there's this wonderful moment in one of the movies about Slavic mythology that I have watched as a child, where this wolf, the girl is brought to him, right? This young woman who was shot with an arrow. He's trying to heal her, and he's trying, and there is not enough divine power. He gets really frustrated. He gets his stick, and he goes and he wallops the idol of the god, and he's like, "You are a bad god." No, and that's kind of
Yeah.
it's an interesting. It's a relationship that has less reverence in it, but more kind of, I don't know, the quality of like, yeah, being put upon or more.
Well, it's almost to some extent there's a reciprocity.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if I worship you, come on, you gotta do
You
your
gotta
bit.
do your bit, right? Nothing in life is free. Maybe
I'll
we should,
drag the tree, but that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. We're
But
just
yeah.
maybe more pragmatic in that, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting little way versus like just outright awe and worship and
Mhm.
reverence and like
And I think that kind of speaks to the dual religion thing that's happening in Eastern Europe. It's like we're mostly Christian, like we go to church or whatever, but when it comes to like, oh, protect our crops, oh, let's do with our fertility, like we all have rituals and folkloric like ceremony when it comes to service, like give me what I need. I'll give you this in return. You give me what I need, but then like I'll go to like Christian church
there's
at the
some kind of,
weekend.
like Gordon said, reciprocity and almost an
Yeah.
expectation of fairness. And
Yeah.
that's why you see Raman, he's like, God damn it, he may not be a generous God, but he was always fair.
Fair. Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, they show a bit of that. You were talking about the Irish side of it, in American Gods, maybe more the book than the show. There's a girl who grew up in Ireland or England and came to America, and she has the sort of relationship with ends up with probably being with like a leprechaun or one of the fairy folk. They put stuff out for them,
Yes.
and it's twofold. It's like, don't do bad stuff to us, but also if you want to do something nice for us, we'll leave you a bit of cider after the harvest.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
put some milk out at night.
These are very, very old traditions. Like they're so old that we don't even know like when they
But
started.
a lot of that, like even as Rosanna said, survived.
Yeah, it
Well
survived. For
into
some reason, it survived.
And of course they survive when Kate's world
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
gets the pendulum into magic because people are the same as they've ever been. So it all comes back and they all have the same relationships with it. Yeah, we've rambled enough about religion, but that is the point of the book. So in a way, the relationship with religion. Um, will you get the rights for the Kate series? And if so, will you edit the first Kate books to be
No, we
more
tried.
similar
When
to
we were
yours?
doing the collector edition, we tried to like address because it was so badly cut that there's like, parts of it don't make sense. And
Yeah.
so we tried our best and they fought us tooth and claw.
And if we
Like-
wrote Magic Strikes and Magic Burns, they would be different because we're not.
Even Magic Bites.
Oh yeah,
Magic
Magic
Bites
and Magic Burns.
Yeah.
They would be. I mean, the thing is, we're so much older. It's been 17
It is what
years.
it is, you know, the books are, you know, I used to say they're old enough to drive, but now it's more like another few months and they can enlist in the army and vote.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's books are meant to be the snapshots of the time they were written in, and both the time where when the book was created and also the inner world of the writer when they were creating the book, right?
Yeah, we were different.
We were
Our kids
different
were
people.
little.
Yeah.
You know, we lived in Savannah.
And yes, is it, did they, you know, you could make an argument of like, well, they may not have aged well. Some themes are probably not as culturally sensitive as they are now, but now we're have bigger, better understanding. You know, back then we didn't, you know, our children were probably the first internet generation that started at accessing internet in childhood, right? So it was a completely different social world. It was like
different time and place.
different
Jesus
time and
Christ.
place.
I
Yeah.
don't know that, like, we know an author that was allowed to go back and rewrite her earlier books, but I'd honestly write the
And the-
preferably I'd rather write the next Iron and Magic for you guys. I'd rather write the next, Julie book
Yeah, or start something completely new, you know.
and go back and
Then go
reach
back
in
and
old
rewrite that.
stuff.
And you know, the reaction to when, I mean, there's some stuff that you can do. You can go back and you can adjust the word choice. Because that's just, you know, basics. If
Yeah.
some word becomes, you know, culturally inappropriate, you know, for whatever reasons, it's very easy to replace it because it's just a word. But you cannot rewrite the themes of the book completely. And because of that, you know, we would not necessarily like, we own our mistakes, but we also would not want to spoil the experience for those of you who have read the older books
And then we
and want
change
to
it.
go back and reread it. Because let me
Yeah.
tell you, the Kindle will update it for you. They're not gonna,
Yeah.
yeah. So we would not do the bait and switch on you guys like that.
Yeah.
So we're coming close to the spoiler. So before the people who don't want to hear spoilers leave, I have to ask you about the future schedule. What plans there are. There is currently a blog post on the blog that says that we were going to get a novella, maybe for the holidays this year. Is that still in the plans? This is negotiation on spoilers.
Ah, well, maybe I meant to turn the
you go.
microphone off.
Ah,
No, we actually,
Operator.
we had a discussion about this today.
Yeah, we had to clear it with Nyla, so our
Yeah, we did
agency-
clear it with
yeah.
Nyla. We got the okay. So I think the next thing is going to be Wilmington 3.
Yep. So here's what we're doing, right? We have to finish Maggie's edits at the end
Yeah,
of
we have to
this
finish
month,
Maggie. It's
right?
due.
It's due, and it
And
is
then
a massive,
At the
massive
same
goal.
time, the end of next month, we have to go to Dragon Con and
Yep.
be there for 5 days.
5 days. They own
And
us for
that's-
5 days.
Yeah, and that's
basically.
gonna wipe us. We don't travel well. We travel like fruit, I think.
We're
So-
gentle and bruise easily.
Yeah, so there goes September.
But
But then we need to basically do something. So here's why Magic, the Wilmington Files 3 makes sense. We can finish that. We can somewhat serialize it, which we have always done with the Wilmington books. Then, if we do the third book and it doesn't suck, it can be Wilmington 1, 2, and 3 can be bundled in a very pretty.
and you can get the pretty edition that you guys have been asking for because
mm,
we've been
without the
having
third.
so many requests for like, could you please do like
But then we need to shift
Subterranean?
into Iron and Magic 2.
Yeah, so the plan is right now, barring unforeseen circumstances of like Tor coming back and saying, hey, guys, this is not what we wanted, you know, we bought a
for
different,
Maggie.
yeah,
Yeah.
fix it. or like, health problems or whatever.
Oh,
Barring
true. Sorry.
barring all the unforeseen
Taken
circumstances,
tradition.
right? Alive and well, right? We will go to DragonCon, we'll knock it out, and then we will take some time to basically get the Wilmington novella, serialize it on the blog,
Up
and
to
you
a
can up to
point.
point, yeah, you
Up
can
to a
read
point.
it while we're working on Iron and Magic
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the flagship release for 2025 will probably be Iron and Magic 2, and we may start the Inkeeper in 2025. We will have to
As a
see
serial.
as a serial, yeah.
Yes, because here's the thing, we owe now, everyone knows by now, we owe Tor,
Two books.
2 books. Well,
Well, two
assuming that they
Maggie
accept
books, two Maggie.
2 Maggie books and something else. Do you see what I'm saying? So at some point, guys, we have to write that stuff
Yeah.
because they gave us the dough.
And the problem with Maggie is that for some reason this book is kind of weird. This universe is weird. Usually when we write something like, I don't know, like a Hidden Legacy or something, we can do a project on the side, and it's relatively easy to like take
Yes.
one day out of the week and do that.
It's 2 Maggie plus 1, but here's the deal.
Maggie eats your
Maggie
brain.
could also
Yeah.
be third. We just don't know. It could be Maggie, 2 Maggies and a Shadow Forger. It could be 2 Maggies and Puffles.
Yeah,
the
we're
Sad
not
Dragon.
sure.
We
We are not
don't
sure.
know.
Yeah, so
Now you've thrown the grenade in there because you've said Puffles. So
the plan for now is,
rest in peace.
yeah, give you the Wilmington 3. I got the most annoyed email
Oh.
on the post, which said, you never finish anything. And I was like, we finished Hidden Legacy, we finished Kate Daniel,
For Christ's
we
sake, and that
finished
was
The
terrible.
Edge.
Yeah.
So,
But no, for now, again, Wilmington 3.
Wilmington 3 makes sense. We
Makes
knock it
sense for
out. We
us.
prep it for Iron for Blood Air 2. You see what I'm saying? We get it all set up. And then we knock out the Iron and Magic, which you have guys been waiting forever
And we
for.
also owe France Iron and Magic.
Yeah, we're all
too.
friends, Iron and
Somehow
Magic
we
2.
signed something.
Yes, and they're
It's-
so nice.
They're
And
super nice,
so-
but yes.
We gotta deliver. So we're gonna
Yeah.
concentrate on that. We are aiming for maybe the serialization of Wilmington 3
Yeah,
in the
self-published, guys.
fall to winter, then a release of Wilmington 3
We're hoping we really like
first
early.
quarter,
Yeah,
first
we
quarter
really
2025.
love January, but then there's always the audio and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we're gonna try our
Because
best.
Nancy's like, and what if it's, okay, you say January, how about November? And we're like,
No,
No.
not the
How about
next
now?
November. She doesn't mean November before. She means
she means
November
November, yeah.
after January.
Yeah.
So we would like to get that out to you, so you guys will have a release from us. We'll concentrate on Iron and Magic. Hopefully it will be self-published somewhere in mid 2025. That's
Yeah,
what we're aiming
because
for.
we're sort of balancing what we owe you guys really to what we owe Tor. And there
Yes,
does have to be a fair balance of
and we don't really
self-release,
know
self-pub.
sort of what promotional expectations there'll be with Maggie, because they kind of backed the truck up and they dumped a bunch of money, and now we have to make sure that our we deliver something awesome, because like otherwise it's such a letdown. So we're working super hard on that. Hopefully we'll pull ourselves together and get all of that done. It's just, Maggie makes it very difficult to work on other stuff. It's like consuming.
Yeah.
Before the store really took over in this release, we were just in the study, like doing Maggie stuff. So
And,
Maggie tends to take over.
Maggie tends to take over.
It's new, it's shiny.
And
But-
she grows. Can you share what the word count is at the moment?
Oh, it's effing huge, isn't it? It's
Oh
freaking
God,
crazy.
I
You we'd have to shut
hold
this
on.
window and open it.
Hold on, I'll tell you what it is. Oh, wait.
Fucking hell.
The thing about the Wilmington files is with all of the boo-boos or whatever you want to call them, right?
What?
The
Why is
thing-
it old Maggie?
because
like,
it's like this freaking 50
I'm all
million.
Greg.
There's 50 million drafts of it. Okay, the 2/3 edit. So this is 2/3
Oh
of the
yeah, how
book.
far did I? Yeah. I got pretty far with that before.
Before the store hit, I
Yeah.
know. And I don't know where the working file went.
What do you
In the
think?
meantime, let me say, so Wilmington
It's
3,
going-
yes, will be in the timeline before Blood Air.
Yes.
So all the Wilmingtons will happen before Blood Air. And it will also be
No, no,
self-published.
so here's okay. Here's the thing
Oh.
about Kate Daniels, as much as I'm a fan of Maggie and everything. Whatever problems the first books had, it's our baby. It's where we started. We really love that universe, right? So we'll
She's
take
our
it
oldest
well.
child.
She's our oldest child, yes. Woo! Also the super not fair to children. Okay, I just don't have the right file here.
I saw like 138,
No,
138,000.
it's that's the 2/3 count. So
Oh,
it's around
oh.
180 right now. I don't have the exact numbers, but basically two magic Burnses put together.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, we totally serialized Wilmington 1 and 2
No,
on the
we
blog.
didn't.
No,
Guide.
you didn't. No, you didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. It was a mega surprise. Look, Magic Tides, it's already done.
You remember we pottered out? And then we called Nancy and like throw it out right away. And she was like, you are taking advantage of my kindness and
Oh, that's
generosity.
true. Well, didn't we
Yeah.
finish somewhat of the second one?
No,
Wait, so can we serialize this one?
why not? It's self-pub.
Okay, never mind.
Um,
Magic Clams. I thought we did serialize Magic Clams.
No.
Oh, okay, we're gonna serialize this one.
Am I
I
just,
think you're crazy.
have I lost all of
Is
my
it
whole
cracked?
bag of marbles?
no, you're right. The Magic
I
Tides was
know,
a
I
complete
serialized
surprise.
Inkeeper. We serialized Inkeeper. I don't
Yeah.
believe we serialized the Kate
And
Daniels.
Blood Air was
But yeah,
serialized during the pandemic.
oh,
Well, I would like to serialize.
yes, because
Wilmington
we
3.
promised you the serial novella, and Wilmington 3 will fit the bill. It will be fun, it will be entertaining, it is probably going to be a winter novella, so it will be very apropos for it to go up in the fall.
Because otherwise we'd have to do, if we stuck to strictly what we've serialized previously, Inkeeper.
And
But
it's
that's
just
like
it does not, we need to be able to give Inkeeper finale our full attention.
100% of our attention.
Yeah, and it's
We
very
can't do it
difficult.
part-time.
Yeah,
Are you still planning it to be Maud POV?
Yes,
Well,
well, the first part.
I
Okay,
mean-
here's where we go into spoilers. 7:59. If you don't want spoilers, like you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
Yes. We love you. Thank you
Ship
for
part.
coming to see us.
Thank
Wait.
you.
You have
Okay.
to give people time to drop off. We are so
Yay.
funny.
We can't wait for spoilers. We can't wait for spoilers.
I'm sorry. So this is the spoilery bit. We kind of see the next Innkeeper thing as being a two-part. Part one is the wedding with Maud and Arland, right? And the attack and blah blah blah. The second part is go get the parents.
Yes, so
Do you know what I'm
we
saying?
just
So it's
don't
split.
know how long the parts will be.
Yeah, we don't know how long
Like,
each part is
we
gonna
would
be.
have to write it out because it's very difficult to say. So
Yes,
we don't,
House Urban needs to get their comeuppance.
yes, the house Orban, the big wedding, the
The big
Mokama,
wedding.
all of that stuff, and it's all tied up with the corrupted innkeeper thing.
Yes,
And
the
so-
alcohol
But the difficulty here is that both Maud and Dina are point of view characters. So it would be, and people really, really liked Sweep of the Blade. Like, okay, I know that people love the Innkeeper series in general, but the Sweep of the Blade was like
No,
a standout. Like
that's the classic.
yeah, there was something about, I don't know if it's men in armor or and women in armor,
You
or
have to ask Maggie.
it's space. Yeah, what she's so at some point, this is the Maggie joke, right? Since you're
Yeah.
getting at some point, Maggie sees this guy, and he's like the quintessential knight, and he's huge. He's like 6'6", and he's walking towards her, right, in a brilliant sunshine, so like a moving picture, basically. And she's like, "I'm looking for a man in armor, 6'5",
Wow.
guys." Which is like, "Hey, he probably has a
Trust fund.
passport because he's gonna be fast,
That
right?"
armor's not cheap.
Yeah, that armor is not cheap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what Ratana is referencing. But basically what the heck was I yakking on about? Now I forgot.
The points of view being both Maud and Dina.
Yes,
Any chance we're gonna get Klaus?
We really want to make sure that class will be in there, but probably not the point of view. We want to make sure that each of the sisters has a very strong storyline, so it may be a two-parter. It may be like a duology finale.
yeah,
We just don't know how
because it would be a
long.
lot to put into one thing, because it really is two different things. It's, you know, Maud and Arlan wedding, which I think would be funny if it was told from Dina's point of view.
I absolutely would not do that
We're
because
seeing it.
you're missing all of that emotional payoff when the mother-in-law, former mother-in-law
Okay,
shows up.
then
No,
go
I
more
want the whole like,
Okay, so Maud's point of view for the
yes,
first part.
the impact of that revenge needs to be
Okay,
first
Then
person.
I think the second bit needs to be from, because Dina's the one who started the end.
Yes, and
so
then
Dina needs to be
so
the
Dina
partner
needs
behind the
Dina needs to
parents.
be the one who rescues the parents.
Yes.
That was Dina's thing. That was Dina's
Yes, that's
from
Dina's
start
thing.
to finish.
Maud split, dude.
Maud split, and so Maud's struggle is different. Maud's struggle is
Yes.
more personal in nature because the child is involved. So that it's different storylines. Do you see what I'm saying?
Different
So
POVs, storylines.
we have to like mash it well together. And I don't know if
It's all from Helen's point of view.
it's all from what?
Helen's point of view. That would be hilarious. It's Helen and the cat.
Yeah, it's Helen and the cat, the dynamic duo. Oh my gosh. Oh.
So there you go. You got to see a little bit of the dynamic duo writing together and agreeing on stuff. Hi, Mikey. Oh my God, who woke up?
Hi.
All right, let's go. Hang on, I'll let them out. Mikey's good, good. I don't
Just
wanna get through.
open the door. I
Yeah,
think.
I'm just gonna open the door, don't. Watch out
Pardon
for
us
something.
for 2 seconds.
Oh, Charlie, big jump. No, don't eat weird shit on the ground. Debbie. Go outside.
Unfortunately, he trained this dog, right? The first time we had a Zoom, you know, he picked him up, and now if we sit down together at the computer and Zoom is happening, he'll come over. He needs to sit on his lap, and basically everybody needs to tell him how amazing he is.
He needs airtime. I
Needs
mean,
airtime,
of course, he's a celebrity.
Character.
So is this Inkeeper, which might be 2 Inkeepers or at least a duology, is it going to be the last one or just the last in the finding the parents?
Wrap it up with.
Yeah, to be fair, we will probably end the series there because I just, you know,
At
I
least for a
cannot,
little bit.
I
because
cannot
it's like-
deal with any more of like, you never finish things.
Maud is married, you know, Dina hopefully finds the parents.
You know,
Everybody's happy, hopefully, at least
yeah,
that part of their lives. Because that is, like, Maud's remarried, which is great. And then Dina's kind of quest this whole time is to then solve the mystery of what happened to their parents.
yes.
Yeah.
So I just, you
And
know,
sort of the ad haul aspect of it, because she is an innkeeper. That part's more important to her than
yes.
it probably would be to Maud.
Well,
per se.
it's 2 different struggles. It's basically
is.
Maud fighting Mukama and basically Dina fighting the corrupted innkeeper and everything that comes with it. You know, it's a very long involved storyline. So we will knock it out. Don't worry. We'll
But yeah, I do feel like the person that criticizes, they're not wrong. I mean, we do finish up sometimes.
we're
but
not
yes.
wrong. It's just, you know, the thing is like it's kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like when we finished Kate's series, we had like literally suicidal threats, right, sent over. Then when we basically went back and did Wilmington or Blood Air even,
Like I
it
thought
was
you
like,
guys were
I
done
thought
with
you
that.
guys were done. You're now milking it. I'm like,
Yeah,
well, make
yeah,
up
milking
your
it.
mind. Do you want more or do you not want more? And if you don't want more, stop bugging us.
As long as you have stories to tell, we are here to read them.
yeah, and this
Is the conclusion.
where
That's the thing. I think that part of Innkeeper would be done for a little bit
Yeah.
And then we could pick it up later.
The interesting thing about the Innkeeper is you can pick it up at any point and just spin off more stuff onto it because it's just adventures in the galaxy. And it's a lot of fun. It's flight of fancy. Like we can do whatever we want because the galaxy is so huge. So it's a lot of fun for me. Like I don't want to let go of it yet, but by God, I will.
But I do feel like at the same time, I don't want to go of it, but I feel like we should give you guys
Yeah.
a satisfying ending
Satisfying
to at least
conclusion.
that arc of,
Yeah, and just be done for a bit
Yeah.
and then do something else.
Well, and
Brah,
yeah.
brah, brah.
Oh,
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 right.
sad, Ilona, sad.
Sad Ilona is sad. My precious baby is being.
don't be sad.
Okay.
Speaking about sad things, are you a bit more okay now to potentially think about an Arabella continuation?
Yes. Here's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, well, we even thought about serializing that. She was like, do we give that to Tor? And I was like, no, hell no. Well, I think if we
no,
do,
I don't think so. I think Tor needs to have an original property.
yes,
But,
Arabella, I think we keep for ourselves. We are more open to an Arabella.
Next question.
Next question. Will you start any other new projects except Maggie, or are you focusing on sequels? I think we kind of touched upon maybe giving Tor a third.
Thing as far as the new projects go, it's gonna be Maggie.
And then the other thing,
And the other stuff is us tying up the loose ends. So we're you know we have the Iron Magic 2, well Wilmington 3, Iron Magic 2, at some point Innkeeper finish and Blood Iron 2, and that concludes everything that we reasonably owe to the BDH.
While we are, I have to say, we are officially under contract with Tor to give them 3 books. And we have
and those books will take precedence over whatever else we're doing.
Yeah, if it comes down to it, because again, they have given us advances and publicity.
And, you know,
They've
we
been super
can't
nice. Tuna's
just.
here. Oh, Tuna's here.
Hi, Tuna.
Hi, Tuna.
The gentleman, please. Yes, the gentleman. That is
Oh my
Tuna.
gosh, we have misgendered our cat. And
For
I
8
think
years.
years.
I saw that. 8 years. I thought he was a girl.
The handsome man. That is Tuna.
Our defense, he meows very cutely. He's all like, meow. You know, I've never heard him like viciously growl in a manly way, so I don't know. But
Yeah.
you know, the what the heck was I saying? Oh, I was saying something smart and like I'm so like scatterbrained from the store. Oh my gosh.
Maggie, 2 books and something else.
Yeah.
Yes, so we can't just continue to write sequels as much as we love our existing universes. We need to write something new, and Maggie is that something new. Tor has been amazing to work with. Oh my God, it's like the movie editing. It's like you talk to the editor and the editor knows who you are and what's going on, and it's like, yes, but does it make sense from this point of view? And like I've had deep conversations with our editor regarding our character. It was amazing.
It's very different than self-pub, you know.
Yeah, or even some of the other work we've done, because
Yeah, no, this is amazing. And we want those 3 books to be the best books we can give them. So that's why when she says it takes precedence in a way, well, we're contracted for it, and we want to really, give them the best book we can.
We are trying our absolute hardest.
Yeah, which we also try for the self-pub stuff.
Yes, we always try our absolute hardest. It's just that this is a longer, more involved project. Like,
yeah,
it's a
Maggie's
whole
a
new
big
world.
book. I think Maggie's the longest book we've ever written.
Yes, and we got to put
easily.
We got to put all the stuff into it now that
All
we
the bells
wanted
and
to, because at some point Rosanna read the first draft, right? She was so funny. She's like, you realize that in chapter 8, suddenly we have both flora and fauna, which was not there before. We're like introduced 8 different species all of a sudden in a clump. So yeah, none of that is happening now. We can give you Relis in all of its glory, so to speak, hopefully.
Yeah.
Maggie is fantastic. It's like you've got this like rich yeasty dough that like the more it develops, the more delicious it gets, and the more like depth of flavor and world building and character and like love letter to fandom, and I can't wait for you guys to read it. Does Tor have like an idea about the publishing date yet? Like exact.
Very early 2026. That's
Yeah,
what they're aiming
And that's
for.
not even spoilery, that's just what we know, guys.
Yeah.
That's just,
They really want to do this thing where they print a bunch of ARCs and then they give it to everyone and give them several months to read it. Because
Mhm.
people don't realize, but reviewers and critics and journalists, they get like books all the time. So there's usually a stack you have to get through. It takes them a significant amount of time to kind of get to your book. So you can't like
Yes.
throw a book at them a month before the publicity and expect that they will read it. So they want to give them like at the minimum 6 months to like get to it, read it, hopefully talk about it. We'll see.
yeah, I mean, and that's their business, we're not gonna tell
Yeah,
them their
we are
business.
writers. There's marketing
Publishers.
professionals, publishing professionals. We
Editor.
stay in our lane when it comes to that.
Yeah, we're gonna finish, basically pecking around with first Maggie, and then give it to them and, and then probably either, what do you think, work on the second bit? Or if they take it, then you think it's Wilmington and,
Wilmington 3, Iron Magic 2, Maggie 2, and
Now, again,
simultaneously probably with the
yeah, but
Inkeeper.
then again, like, honestly, guys, I'll be honest, if they come and say, we need Maggie 2 in 6 months, well,
Yeah,
everything gets put aside and we're doing Maggie 2.
yep.
Do you have is the title final? Like it's going to be
No,
called Maggie the
No,
Undying?
No,
nothing's
nothing
final.
is final.
But
Nothing
I
is
like
final.
Maggie the Undying as a
Again,
title.
I love that title. I love because it's such a juxtaposition of like very
Yeah.
kind of I don't want to
How
say
old is Maggie? Maggie's about 25, guys.
Maggie's about
Yeah,
20
25.
Yeah,
Yeah, 25, 26.
one of our
daughters.
children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she graduated from college, right? And she actually had tried really hard to get a few jobs, right? And even worked them, but they didn't work out for different reasons. So she's a little bit more mature, and it's so good that she's a little bit more mature because like the sharks she finds in that fantasy universe are like
Gen Z, I guess. I
yeah,
don't
she's
know.
Gen
Yeah.
Z.
Yeah, which is weird.
So it's very I really like it. I like messing with it. I like writing with
Did
it.
they miss Blood Air 2 and then no, there's no
No.
Blood Air 2 yet, guys.
Blood Air
No.
will be written later. We need to
There's
get
stuff we have to do
Wilmington
first.
3
Wilmington 3 and Iron and Magic 2,
to
Yeah.
kind
and
of
then do Blood Air 2.
so in the timeline. So here's what it is, right? Not the timeline of writing, but the chronological timeline of the series. Okay. So we have Magic Triumphs, right? Then after Magic Triumphs, we have Sanctuary. After Sanctuary, we have Wilmington 1, 2, 3.
3.
Okay. And
Blood
then
one,
we
Blood
have Iron and
No, Blood 1.
and then Blood Air 2. Iron and Magic is kind of on the other side of that. It takes place before Magic Triumphs. There's big spoilers. We'll let you know what's going on with the chicken, but we need to get that out of the way so that duology can be completed and be done. And that way nobody will come after me with pitchforks.
There you go.
They just asked, so will there definitely only be 2 books in Iron and Magic, not
For
3?
now,
Honestly,
yes.
yeah.
For now, yes.
Yeah,
Because
so
we
I don't
can't.
even know what we do with a third book. Like, so we kind of just, yeah, Iron
The
and Magic
problem
2.
is if we're doing the Iron and Magic ones are a little bit and they're not sequential as much as they're, they don't have an overarching plot line aside from kind of Ilara and Hugh's
They
relationship.
tend to be more episodic.
They're very episodic. And so, yes, could we theoretically do 3, 4, 5? Absolutely. And they're super fun to write.
Yeah,
right?
and we might one day, but
And we might one day, but right now I want to get the metaphorical, basically, whatever, off our back to finish the second duology, leave that couple in a good place, and then go tie up the loose ends elsewhere.
Right.
it's a good
So
plan.
we've kind of shifted from you thinking in trilogies, which you used to do,
Yeah,
to now thinking in duologies. So Iron and Magic duology, Blood Air duology, Maggie potentially duology.
and
Well,
the
okay, it's gonna be a
difference is
super
that's
fat
a difference
duology.
between self-pub and traditional pub. They
Yes.
like 3-book deals.
They like 3-book deals, and on
Yeah.
self-pub we now we now kind of lean towards duologies more. And if we're doing future contracts, right? Like
Hi, Tim.
Thor, hi, Precious, hi.
Beautiful girl.
Thor is basically wants at least 2 mega books, and a third book is kind of up to us.
If the third
So
book for
it
Tor
may
is
be
Maggie
third,
3,
it may be
Come-
Maggie 3, or it may be something else. Oh my gosh, okay, just,
she won't.
bro, what is your deal?
What do you want?
What do you want, dude?
Princess. Prince.
Prince, please.
Prince.
Your Majesty. Are
That
you-
Very
works.
much.
what, okay, are we gonna, what are we doing?
Will the little girl rescued in book 1 be adopted by you and Laren? I don't know.
Yes.
The girl, yes, yes.
Okay, I'm not going to ask actual spoilers. You just have to say yes and no if it's going to be addressed. Will they find out what is happening with the plants
Yes.
in Iron and Magic 2?
Yes.
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 You already said we're going to find out what the rooster is about, what the chicken is about.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
This is between you and me, Ilona. Look at me in the eye. Did I guess? Because I asked you and you said, ha ha ha, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, but that wasn't a yes or no.
I
Or-
don't remember.
What is it?
Okay, fine. We're gonna discuss that later. I think I guessed about the chicken, but I'm not 100% sure because
Oh.
Ilona just answered like, oh, haha, I'm glad you had fun with it. But that's not a yes, that's it. Even I don't know, guys. I have
There's a
no idea.
of battle at the end of Magic Triumphs that will make more sense. There's a spoiler for you.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
So we're definitely gonna find out who Elara is, who the entity who shares the body with
Yes,
Elara. I don't
yes,
really know.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Next book, yes,
Yes,
we
yes.
absolutely will tell.
Absolutely.
We're not gonna
yes.
tell you now, but we'll tell you in the next book because we don't want to ruin the reveal for you.
Will we get to see well, probably not in Iron and Magic 2, but in Blood Air, will we ever get to see Hugh and Alara's kids? In particular, the one who lifts cows and walks around like a Greek hero.
Oh, in Iron Magic 2, probably.
There's
I
probably
don't know, are
going
they-
to be
Are they
a,
to that point yet in the second book?
yeah, there's probably going to
I
be
think
an
so.
appearance in Wilmington 3.
Ah,
Yeah, that's more of a Wilmington 3 thing. If
Yeah,
that makes
there
sense,
may be, there
guys.
may be an appearance.
Because you
so-
know, Hugh Dunbray is Curran's favorite person.
Yes.
yes.
Uncle Hugh.
They bond over Moat. I think they have a bonding experience over Moat.
You have a shared love of moats.
Yes, well, it's really funny because at some point, everything is going well and whatever, and then suddenly, Conlon turns around and he's like, oh, Uncle Hugh, and he just takes off, like leaves the parents, takes off down the road, and you're like, okay.
Geographically, they're so far, kind of, Era and you.
Well, we see Aaron and Hugh together in Iron Magic 2. You remember where it is in terms of the timeline, right?
It's different.
is
Before Magic Triumph, so
before
she's a ghosty ghost.
Yeah, she's not in the flesh.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Are we ever going to see the sort of the teased adventures of Julie and Era? Are we ever going to see what happened to Semiramis in Mishmar? Did they save her
That book
bones?
will not sell, guys. That it's
Yeah.
very interesting and it's it would be fun to write. That book, however, will not sell because between us, basically, Kate Daniels diehards here, what the series is set as commercially as a romantic series with a romantic arc, right? Julie and Era, it would be a girl adventure. It would be a very much of
Xena.
a departure from the previously established format. Because of that, that book will not do well. People will be disappointed, and we cannot take time to write it. We need to be able to concentrate.
Yeah,
on
when I think
subjects.
about writing it, I don't know.
Yeah,
when we would.
I don't know when
I
we have
mean,
time is precious
Damien,
about the stuff.
yeah, Damien could court her. The Angevin could court Era. Just saying.
Well, He's trying. The man is trying. He'll probably succeed. Who knows?
But we're likely to see, or at least hear from Era and maybe Julie in Wilmington 3.
We'll see.
Aha. Most of the is Arabella anywhere in the writing schedule? I don't
No,
No,
not really.
because
It was discussed today.
we flirted with it a little bit, and it's very clear that if we're going to start, it's going to be in a novel. It's not going to be a novella.
Hmm.
It's going to be a novel because she's so much fun to write.
Oh, someone asked what the key is. The key goes to a lockbox in the bank.
Yes, I can
A
tell
safety
you what's in
deposit
the
box.
lockbox if you want to know.
Yes, it's the spoiler section. Let's
It's a hand.
Okay.
spoil.
It's a severed hand. It's a severed hand.
So the key goes to a safety deposit box with a severed hand in it.
Yep. And the hand is not decomposing. So the question is why?
After the merch store ends, might we see the end of lollipops?
We need to work on it. We realize that the thing is we're working on that and then everything kind of crunched down on us.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
We
yes.
would love to.
The problem is that Lollipops is leading into the novel.
Yeah, the problem
Aha.
is Lollipops is if there's an Arabella novel, Lollipops is the beginning of that.
And please don't hold us to the schedule because things are subject to change. We may start RN Magic 2 and just not be able to basically be in the right frame of mind. Books are not widgets, and sometimes you're just not feeling it, you know? I would hate for it to be like experience while Ruby Fever is a good book, and I really, really proud of us for writing it and finishing the series.
Finishing it.
We just were not in the right frame of mind for it. It was like dragging rocks. Like we just, and I don't know why, because Emerald Blaze,
Oh man.
oh my God, it
We-
was like we knocked it out.
freaking
Like we
killed it.
we
And you
flew
know,
through
that
that
may
book.
be the duology part of it because it hadn't been up to us. Like we would have been like Emerald Blaze.
Yeah,
That's it.
wrap up the arc in there. They're
Yeah,
together.
we
They're
would have wrapped
happy.
it up.
Yay.
But you know, again, we were contracted for 3 books.
Yeah, so
So-
and we did have some stuff to finish, like the Alessandro's basically family issue, you know, all that stuff.
What is
Do
he
you
doing?
have a stick?
You-
Please don't
you
have a stick.
Don't have Charles Tubbins.
So
Are
basically,
you just tearing that rug off?
yeah, he's tearing,
Don't
he's
get
chewing on the
don't
rug.
get-
So basically,
bad boy.
what was I going to say again?
We may not be feeling it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we may end up not feeling it, and if we don't feel it, it's just not gonna go. Like if it's anything I learned in our basically almost 2 decades of writing, is that sometimes when it doesn't go, if you try to force it, you're just gonna write yourself into a block, and then nothing gets written, and you know, and you feel horrible when you're stuck in the writing block. It's like the worst feeling, like nothing works. You can't play computer games. You can't watch TV.
Okay,
You're
okay,
just
okay.
kind of exist in this
Oh,
tortured
my God.
limbo.
You agree?
Burnout.
So I really, really hate being
Oh
in the
yeah, and
writing
the
block.
thing about I will say about Arabella, the little bit that we did on Lollipops was really fun.
Oh, it was
We
so
both
fun.
enjoyed
It was so fun. We enjoyed,
And-
and this is the problem. We enjoyed it entirely too much.
Yeah, I wish that we could just sit and knock out an Arabella thing and serialize it a little bit. It
Yeah, and
was
it would be
super fun,
amazing.
you know.
But we need to finish Wilmington 3 because it's unfinished.
Yeah,
and
so
But whatever you feel like writing, whatever story you feel like telling, we are here for it. And we thank you for them. And we're very grateful. And we hope you do enjoy writing them.
you guys have been so patient with us. We're like popping all over the place. And this book and that book. And you guys like, yay. Well,
that's an excellent question.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
I'm already shipping who the love interest would be.
Yes.
Who is it for you, Rosanna?
Oh, definitely the Undercanum. Yeah.
Daggerkund.
Daggercoon.
The Gorkun, yeah.
Yeah.
The funny part about this is Lord Sarah
Karakun.
apoplexy. He would just like,
Oh, he would go crazy.
he would never be
Oh,
fit.
talk about a Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
It would be
Like,
so
like-
fun. It would be so much fun.
And there can be like a treaty, and then the leaves can come in and
yes, a treaty.
just
Well, and you know, the vampires are all about bringing different humanoid stock.
No, you're thinking of
Oh,
the
Am I thinking of
The other ones.
oh god, the Dominion.
the Dominion?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Vampires are the opposite. They're xenophobic.
Yeah.
Well, so are the Horde to some extent.
Yes, that's why it would
So
be very
who raises
interesting.
the children? What?
Yes, it
Those
would
are
be very,
the-
very
the
interesting
dad
plan.
sword questions like, well,
Just
what-
imagine how much coffee will you need to get Lord Soren drunk enough. We can't wait for all of these adventures and for you to take us with
It
you.
wouldn't have to be coffee, Rasana. It would have to be espresso at that point.
Barrels of
Oh,
espresso.
the inn could host a wedding. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, it would be so
That'd be
cute.
so cute.
It would be so cute. Oh, well, there we go. The duology of weddings. What's wedding, Karat's wedding, you know.
Yeah, could do the Karat wedding, you
We
know.
could just do the wedding planner. You know, all of this is basically, like Russians say, written with a pitchfork on water, meaning that, you know, we plan and plan and plan. Something could happen tomorrow. Like if somebody picks up basically like film rights to Inkeeper and starts developing it, you know, everybody's gonna be like shoved to the side. We're working on
Yeah.
Inkeeper. So yeah, you know,
But it's good to have a plan.
it's good to have a plan.
We would like to do so many things and
Yeah.
I hope we get to do some of them.
You know, I am hoping for Kate anime as well. I think it would be amazing.
Oh, that
anime.
would be amazing.
If I could make a magic wand though, I would get Studio Ghibli to do basically the Innkeeper. The aura would be so funny.
Oh,
my
Aura
God.
would be adorable.
Just that scene when she goes to get him and all his needles stand up. Ah, it would be so cute. I'm yeah, it's not gonna happen, guys. We've got like this Hollywood dude, his name is Sean. We had this showrunner for Kate. That
Oh,
didn't go
No, that
anywhere.
didn't go anywhere.
Like, and I know it didn't go anywhere because they ghosted us. It was all love and dove and here's our first pilot. This is what's script going to look like, blah 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 blah. And then silence. So yeah,
Hollywood people.
we have done this song and dance before. So
Oh, one day.
nah,
One day.
nah.
Well,
You
that's
know
not
what?
exactly ending it on a high note, is it, woman?
Here's the thing. Here's the high note for you.
There you
We
go.
love being writers.
We
We
do love
very
being
much
writers.
enjoy being writers. We enjoy when you guys read our stuff. That's enough for us.
Yeah,
You know, we are perfectly happy with that. And yes, if the show came along, that would be great. But if it doesn't, that's
we're very
okay.
lucky to
We
do
are
what
lucky
we
and
do.
we're fortunate and we're,
Yeah,
you know, at the risk of being that corny, blessed. You know, we are blessed. We're blessed with
be grateful.
amazing readers. Yes. There we go.
And we love you back and thank you so much for all the books and all the adventures that you take us on and all the adventures you will take us on in the future, very near future. And thank you so much for Sanctuary and finally telling Ramon's story. We've been waiting for him for so long. Me. I did. And it is a wonderful book. And thank you for putting up with us with the merch store and all of the horde invasion
Thank you
Please,
for hosting
that's
this.
happening
Please
at the
give a hand to Rastana, who really
Yay.
has done a huge amount of work on the
Yes.
sanctuary
Yes.
and, you know, on making
On
sure
everything.
that you guys are always updated on everything. And honestly, there are times when I don't know what's going on, and then she sends me a list and says, "Hey, what about all those things?" And I'm like, "That's what we're supposed to be doing." So yeah, so we absolutely enjoy working together. I hope continue. Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not getting rid of me anytime soon.
We
Yay.
wouldn't want
We
to.
would love
And
to.
see all of you on the blog and on Saturday.